Good afternoon. It's 4:17. I've been at church the most of the day, and I just realized I never did this today. And I haven't done it a couple of days last week. All of a sudden last week I just decided I'm on vacation. Actually, I figured that out a couple of weeks ago. I don't know when I decided that. But I was on vacation and I just decided, well, I'm not going to do it. So there. Is that unfair? Is it unfair that I didn't do that? The reason I ask that is because the last part of Jonah is the story for this week from the Old Testament. The gospel lesson for this week comes from Matthew, and I cannot tell you, is this like, I think it's chapter 16. I'm not exactly sure where it comes from now. 16, 17, somewhere in there. It's the parable of the landowner who brings in a bunch of workers different times of the day and pays them all alike. And those people who get paid exactly the same as everybody else, even though they worked all blasted day, and the last people only worked an hour, that was so unfair. They worked all day. The other people only work an hour. How unfair can that be? Well, the people who were hired at the beginning part of the day said they would do it for that wage. And they got it. And they got it. One of the things I think about so often these days is we have this beautiful church. And seriously, it is a beautiful church. And we can't use it right now to its full potential. We can't have Sunday school in here right now because of COVID-19. We can't have more than 200 people, not that that's a problem right now, but we can't have more than 200 people in this kind of sanctuary all at once. Is that unfair? It's interesting. If you take a look at Jonah, the book of Jonah ends with God asking a question. And so I ask you today, is what's happening today unfair? Is wearing a mask today unfair? Is socially distancing unfair? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves. And then I think the next thing we have to do is look at the promises of God. Is all that stuff unfair? And we still have the promises of God. Here's the deal. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We are still God's children. God still loves us. All the promises that God has ever given us are still valid. They are ours to keep forever and ever and ever. Things are inconvenient right now. Things are not as much fun as it used to be. But is it to a point where we need to be angry? Is it a point where we have to waste our nights going? Think about those workers. How much complaining that they did afterwards when they could have been enjoying their money that they got for that day, having fun with their families, doing this, doing that, going to the game. I don't know what they played back then. Did they have soccer in Israel back in Jesus' day? I have no idea. It didn't look like the soccer ball we have now, I betcha. But you know, all of that stuff that God has told us is still valid. So think about that tonight, and here's my suggestion. Suggestion only, but I think it's a valid suggestion. Well, I know it's a valid one, but think about what you all have to be thankful for. And then go, is God unfair? And here's the real question. What if you had to live tomorrow with just the things you thanked God for today? Let me say that again. What would happen if you had to live tomorrow with just what you thanked God for today? I think we discover God is being very fair. So anyway, my reason for today doing this in front of the church has nothing to do with this video, but I hope you've enjoyed seeing the front part of the church, the beautiful cross hanging up in the center there, and seeing the pyramids off to the side. I don't know if I can point it, but there's a pyramid, and there's a pyramid. Boy, I'm doing pretty well here. There's a pyramid. Anyway, be thankful today and know that God is a God of fairness. He truly is. God's blessings to you all. Shalom.